Welcome. Good afternoon, and thank you for taking time to join us this afternoon for some important words as we think about the future of Winston-Salem and Forsyth County Schools. I am Alicia Woodbury, Chair of the School Board. As you know, yesterday, our superintendent, Dr. Angela Harrison, the first African American to lead our district, tendered her resignation to our board. While we are saddened by this news, we congratulate her on an opportunity that we know she is excited to pursue. Before I turn the floor over to Dr. Harrison, I want to highlight some of the incredible work this district has engaged in under her leadership. We have moved forward with concrete plans for a new Ashley Elementary School, with the purchase of land beside Fairview Park, which is at the intersection of Liberty Street and New Hope Lane. A new traditional elementary school has not been built in East Winston for at least 50 years. She helped the city and the Housing Authority of Winston-Salem finally secure the Choice Neighborhood Grant, which is a $100 million economic investment in Northeast Winston-Salem and throughout our community. She organized the district to ensure better support for our schools. Dr. Harrison developed the Area Support Plan, which aligned central office staff and district services around specific locations in our district. She created, in essence, the area model of support. Dr. Harrison immediately began working to direct the work of the district by convening a community and staff committee to formulate and build a strategic plan. She worked with the Board of Education to form an equity committee and hired the district's first ever executive director of equity. She also helped to develop the equity policy, which the board approved unanimously. When the pandemic hit, our district led the state, being one of the first to begin e-learning. We made sure our students and families had support like access to meals. Not a day was missed where food was not available to them. As the pandemic response continued, Dr. Harrison implemented the CARES team, which are working right now to make sure students who otherwise were not engaged in remote learning had the support needed to continue learning from home. Dr. Harrison and community partners were integral in forming remote learning centers, which we now have over 40 operating in our community currently. Earlier this year, we were able to secure additional funding for new textbooks through the generosity of Project Impact and the Winston-Salem Foundation. Dr. Harrison and our board worked hard on a campaign to secure a quarter-cent sales tax that is now being used to fund teacher supplements, and she has proposed pay bonuses for our classified staff. This has been a very busy year. We will miss her leadership. So on behalf of the board, I would like to thank Dr. Harrison for all you have done for our students, our family, and our staff. I know you have words you would like to share, so at this time, I will have Dr. Harrison to come and share some words with us. Thank you.
And since I can't hug you, thank you, Chair Woodbury, for your kind words and acknowledgments. Good afternoon. Since being appointed to Winston-Salem to the position of superintendent just over a year ago, I can say that I was truly blessed with a great team. Our community is incredibly diverse, and there's so much opportunity for all of our children. The employees, parents, and community spare no expense in time, talent, efforts, and treasures to help our students reach their goals in learning. Recently, I can point to, as you mentioned, our CARES teams and our community learning centers, representative of how much our community cares and support children in time of need. Community members, Board of Education members, parents, they're willing to go the extra mile for our children during challenging times. I want to thank everyone for your support and all of the well wishes, including those who understand or may not understand that leaving after a short period of time for a community that's dear to my heart is a difficult decision, but one that cannot be passed up. I will remain through November 13th or until such time the Board of Education determines a good transition plan is in place. Our reopening strategy is still on target. We will present to the board subcommittee on Tuesday. If any changes are to occur or recommended, we'll share them at that time. I want to close by thanking our Board of Education for this tremendous opportunity. I see Ms. Marilyn Parker and Deanna Kaplan and Leah Crowley and Lyda Calvert-Hayes, our Vice Chair. They've been awesome supporters throughout this process. My leadership team and the joint management team and principals for walking the walk with me and leading in such a big way. And this has been a heavy lift since March. The teachers and all the employees who are critical to the support of the classroom teacher for changing with the needs and the time. And Val Young, I thank you personally for your support and the organization throughout this process. You've had to make a remarkable change, our teachers and our employees, to take care of our children, because that's what we do as educators. We take care of our children. To our parents, I know this is really, really tough. The parents, out of love for their children and out of the desire to fight the good fight, I know they will continue to support children in a big way. To our community, the Winston-Salem Forsyth community at large, our county commissioners, you are one of the most giving communities I've ever known. As I share your work and efforts with other superintendents, I can tell you I leave them in awe. A school district cannot live apart from its community. When children grow and learn, a community grows. I'm especially grateful to Joette Unks. Joette has been by my side since day one. Try not to get teary, Joette. But she and Chair Woodbury, I can tell you, we have an awesome chair. She's a fighter. She looks out for children. She's laser-like focused on children. These two ladies have lifted me up on days when I just didn't know if we were going to get to the next day. And I appreciate that. Best wishes to you all, and thank you again for this opportunity.
So where do we go from here? Our board has already started discussions about a potential interim superintendent. Dr. Harris has promised to work with us to make this a smooth transition, and we hope to announce that in the very near future we have a new superintendent. Once the interim is in place, we will start focus on finding the next leader for our district. Some of the things that we intend to do in this process: we intend to conduct a national search for the best, most qualified candidate. We do intend to include community stakeholders and engagement events in the process, much like we did in 2019. We do not intend to rush this process. We want to be deliberate and take our time to find a good pool of diverse and qualified candidates. As soon as we have timelines and more information to share about the process, we certainly will. Unfortunately, and especially for urban districts, superintendent change is not uncommon. These are difficult positions with lots of responsibilities, and in today's world, districts are facing things we have never faced before. Across the state even, there are roughly 10 open superintendent positions right now. Do know our first priority now, in addition to moving our students in safely, is to find an interim to continue the work. I want to assure our families that as we move forward toward a safe reopening, that we will have a strong leadership team in this district that is committed to carrying out a reentry plan safely. Our team is solid, it is committed, and it is experienced. Please know that leadership is not a singular action. It is a collaborative action. It is a plural action. It is a collective action. We have to move forward because we are here to make sure all students succeed. We know this will not be an easy task, as many districts are looking for leaders right now, but we are committed to finding the best candidate to lead our district once again. So in closing, I want to implore our community for a moment. We are in a difficult time. There are differences of opinions in how to continue weathering this pandemic and how it is affecting our lives. But we must continue to work together, no matter our differences, because our students have to continue learning and growing. As our district has said throughout this time, we must learn on. And to remix the quote of Governor Cuomo of New York, we must be Winston-Salem strong. Thank you so much. I guess we'll open up for questions. And Dr. Harrison, I'm sure there'll be a few for you, so.
Do you expect to look internally for your interim, will internal candidates be considered?
Yes,
Okay. Can I ask Dr. Harrison something?
yes.
Dr. Harrison, this is you're leaving at a very critical time in the district. Did you give any thought to staying to get this phase, this plan B up and rolling a little bit more?
I did, and the community, actually the community I'm leaving for is my hometown. It's my hometown, and they've been without a superintendent actually for some time now. And yes, I struggled with that. I did struggle with that, but knowing the opportunity was there, maybe short-lived, there was a timeline associated with it, so I had to make a good choice.
I have a two-part question for you. Do you feel like you're leaving the Winston-Salem Forsyth County School District hanging in the middle of this chaotic school year? And do you feel like you've accomplished all that you set out to accomplish? I know that you wanted to focus on literacy.
So after 30 years, I have never accomplished all I wanted to accomplish. No, you never accomplish. Education is ongoing and evolving, and after all of these years, my ultimate goal in life has been to see children, every child on grade level, and every child graduating from high school. So the work is continual. It never, ever ends. No, I don't, because I feel that we have a strong board. We have a strong team. Our Deputy Superintendent, Tricia McManus, has led a lot of the work. We have a strong General Counsel, Dion. We just have a strong team. Brent Campbell is part of our team. This work is led as a team effort, and it is not a singular person, a single person. The worst, a good leader builds a great team, and we have a great team. Kevin Sherrill, our technology leader, Darryl Walker over maintenance, he and Lauren Richards. So I'm a good delegator, and I can tell you the work will continue in a very, very good way. Our subcommittee is led by Marilyn Parker. She already has the agenda set for Tuesday. She already has her work going. So we exercise a lot of teamwork in our district, and I feel that I have a strong leadership team. Our Chief Human Resources Officer, Chief Academic Officer, everyone is a part of the heavy lift. So I am certain and confident that the Board of Education will select a quality interim, a great interim, that will continue the work.
You said you're going back to your hometown.
Yes.
What are your plans?
Superintendent. I've been appointed superintendent of the city I grew up in.
Danville?
Yes.
Teachers contemplate resigning just about every single week here during this pandemic. What message is your resignation? Some of those teachers are contemplating the exact same thing.
Yeah. Well, if I left education, it would probably not send a good message. But last night I sat through the board meeting of my new position, and we have a reopening plan as well, similar to the one in Winston-Salem Forsyth. So our reopening plan is very, very similar. Bringing back students gradually, younger ones first, old ones, high schoolers toward the end. And so it was interesting to see that their reopening plan was very similar to the one we have. And what I do is I say stay encouraged, do what's right for you and your family at all times, and just know that every superintendent across this country is struggling with this decision.
When you hired her, what she came in with an agenda, and one of the reasons you hired her because you liked what she was bringing in. Of that agenda, that hasn't gotten done, what do you feel like is the most important, what would you like to see continue?
Definitely the literacy piece. I think that the literacy piece is connected to the progress of our students, and it is the gateway for students to be successful throughout, the experience of public school education. So I'm sure that we will continue to move forward with the already, strong plans that Dr. Harrison has developed around literacy. Yes.
A question for the superintendent.
Yep.
Superintendent, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Quick question for you. I don't know if you saw a tweet that was sent out by Dr. Contreras at Guilford County.
Didn't see it, but I did hear about
Did
it.
you hear about it? I'll read it to you real quick. This is such a loss for children. The toxic and hostile work environments that female superintendents endure in North Carolina and across the U.S. must be investigated and addressed. Silence equals complicity. Do you have any comment on that? And what do you think about that?
What I'll say is the superintendency across the country, Education Weekly identified the worst job in America was the superintendent's job at this time. So people, parents, educators want the superintendent to be able to give them what they want, which is really a sense of being normal again. This prolonged change in our lives causes emotions, an emotional reaction. It's prolonged. It's not like it was the weekend, it was a hurricane, it was a flu season. This is prolonged change. And prolonged change causes stress. And so from boards of education to principals, to teachers, to parents and students, they see the superintendency as that one gatekeeper to what they want to have happen to return to a sense of being normal. And unfortunately, superintendents across this nation are become the sponge, if you will, or the target for so many emotions. And what I suggest to folks as they realize that this is a very difficult process, we have a third of our parents who want to return in person, totally return, no masking, no anything. A third of our parents who want to be hybrid, a third of our parents who want to remain at home. This causes a lot of emotion. And so we unfortunately have to smile sometimes, and say, it's not about us. It's oftentimes about the position we represent. We represent the gatekeeper in the minds of many people. So I encourage people across this nation and across the state of North Carolina to understand it's tough on us too. I'm a mom, and I got into teaching because I love children. I love children. I love my own children. I love children all across the state, and especially my own here in Winston-Salem, Forsyth. So I always say, and they've heard me say, my staff heard me say, be patient and kind. If we're patient and we're kind, I think we'll all be better off. So that probably was a response to what we're all feeling, is a sense of emotion and urgency, but we have to understand that's because of this prolonged sense of change we've been in the midst of change. So my response is always be patient and kind. And when you're patient and kind to people, no matter how crazy it gets, we all can come out on the other end okay.
You were here 14 months, and you spent fully half of those dealing with this unprecedented
COVID.
pandemic.
Yes.
Massive shift to online. Can you talk a little bit about just how this wore on you to make the shift and then have to start a school year, all these different possible plans?
Well, Lisa, I'll just say that had I not had a great team, and I'll have to go to, Chair Woodbury, there were days that were very stressful, and Chair Woodbury would call, and I'll even say Lida Calvert-Hayes sent me a text just last week and said, hey, I'm worried about you, I want to make sure you're okay, let me know if there's anything I can do for you. I don't really know why, but, she knows it's stressful, right? And so I think those kinds of supports I've had. So to be honest with you, my team is great. They're very sensitive to the impact and stress it can cause on district leadership. You get tons and tons of emails sort of saying, I want this, that, or the other. You have to realize these are parents who care. So it's stressful for every superintendent, I can tell you. It's just stressful for every superintendent. And I felt that, and I still feel the superintendency, the role is so incredibly important, and I still love this job. Otherwise, I wouldn't accept another role in the superintendency. So I feel that if you've got a strong team and people around you who support you and know when it's getting just a little bit too much and provide that support, I think it's doable, but it's still change for people. And everybody wants what they want. Not today, but yesterday.
Dr. Harrison, when is your start date in Danville?
It's December 1st at this time, and that, of course, we want to make sure we have a good transition here. So if that's not in place, we'll renegotiate that, but right now it's December 1st.
Do you get a much needed break between the 13th and December 1st, or no? Moving?
Probably not. Probably not. I left that window just to help transition.
And how long have you been in talks to transition?
I don't know, probably about, 2 weeks. I don't know. There's not talks. There's a process of applying and interviewing and those kinds of things. I don't know that I had any long-term vision. Sometimes things just come your way and you make a decision, so I can't really give you a timeline really.
Is that always a job that you would get out of your mind, there's a chance to go after Danville, that's something that I'm interested in?
Well, it's my hometown, and I taught there. I began my teaching career there. I was the first African-American principal there, female principal. I was an assistant principal there, so I don't think I had any long-term vision that would be where I ultimately end up. But opportunities come, and you weigh the pros and cons. And my parents are still with us. My parents are still there in their late 70s. And to be honest and a little selfish, it might be nice to be able to take them lunch every now and then.
As you're talking with parents and talking with teachers today, their fear is that uncertainty that though there is a board, you are the leader of the leader. The school district, not teachers, and parents are worried about what's going to happen with the plan. What extra role me as an educator am I going to have to do to step up to be a greater leader in my community, in my school? What is your message to them of hope, or even just your message of stick to the course, stay strong, and eventually work out? Do you have a message?
Again, when I arrived, we hired several of our senior team members, but they're strong and they're good. They're good. Oh my goodness, they're good. And I have no doubt. And if you've ever worked for 9 women, I don't know if you've ever worked for 9 women, but they certainly do have, they have a tenacity and a mindset that's just unshakable. So when they put their minds to it, working together, when they put their minds to it, they can make anything happen. So I believe in our ladies on the board, and I believe in our senior team, and staying the course.
Potentially 10 months to 14 months, depending on how long it is to the school district.
Yeah, that would have to be, yeah. Okay. All right. Well, thank you all so much, and again, thank you, Chair Woodbury.
Thank you.
So I think this concludes the press conference, and again, on behalf of the Winston-Salem Forsyth County Board of Education, the board members that are here today, we thank you for this opportunity to communicate to our community around where we are and how we will move forward with the thought and focus always in mind around the children and communities that we serve. Thank you so much. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you for joining us on Your School Channel, Cable 2.